2 hours, and it's not just presidential candidates on the ballots today that could impact turnout. Pot is also on the ballot in 9 states, some of them battlegrounds, Arizona, one among them. Then you also have states like California and Massachusetts, but then you've got Nevada and Maine. So as you can see, several of those are crucial battlegrounds. Arkansas, Florida, Montana, and North Dakota are voting on legalizing it for medical purposes. So you've got battlegrounds there as well. Ken Law is at a polling site in Las Vegas. And Ken, this is one of those issues that for a certain group of voters matters very deeply. What are you hearing from voters there?
Matters very deeply because it's very personal, whether you are the mother of kids, whether you're a school teacher or you're a police officer. This issue really gets to quality of life, safety for a lot of people, and education. So this is one of the big issues that is bringing people to the polls today. This is a state that has had medicinal marijuana since 2000, so they are used to the idea of marijuana. What this does, though, is it makes it recreational. It allows people to buy up to an ounce of pot, essentially, at a store. So this is legalization of pot in this state. What we are hearing from voters is that, yes, the presidential race is very important, but this is the issue on quality of life here in Nevada. Here's what they told us.
No way. No way. Things are bad enough as they are right now. We don't need it. Sorry, but that's my opinion.
Now, we also heard from another voter who said that she supports it, and here's why.
It's just like the same thing with alcohol. I mean, they're going to put an age limit on it, and it's going to be 21 and over, right? So, I mean, you should be an adult to use that, just like you should be an adult to use alcohol as well.
And we should point out, you were mentioning all those states, Aaron. If you put Arizona, Nevada, and California together, those three states in the Southwest, you would have, if they do pass, if recreational marijuana passes on those state ballots, you would have a block in the West where marijuana would be legal for recreational use. Aaron?
All right, Ken, thank you very much. My panel is back with me. How big of an issue do you think this is going to be? Just to be clear, Bakari, you look at Clinton and Trump, they both said they are in favor of medical.
You came to me.
Medical. I mean, you're sitting here. I'm not passing judgment on your current state.
It's going to be a good night tonight. Yeah. But what we are seeing is where these amendments and where these referendums are popping up. And one of the things that we need to look closely at is Amendment 2. One of my good friends down in Florida, John Morgan, who's a big trial lawyer, big Democratic donor, is running a campaign on Amendment 2, which I believe is going to pass tonight, which is on medical marijuana. And we're starting to see that when you have these issues on the ballot, it's a very personal decision for many other people, and it drives the interest in the race, puts more money in the races, and so it's an interesting phenomenon. I'm interested to see, because in South Carolina, where I'm from, we are really pushing towards getting to a medical marijuana proposition, because I think it's actually morally okay, and so I really don't have a problem with it.
But when you look at it right again, in terms of what its effects going to be on the presidential race, you could get turnout, but then people have to make a choice, because you only have Garrett Johnson as someone who favors recreational marijuana, which is right now in 5 states is actually on the ballot today.
And I think it has more to do with how it shapes the turnout of the electorate. I mean, think about where we've come on this issue. In 1992, we had a candidate who swore he did not even inhale. And here we are in 2016, we're dealing with ballot initiatives on this issue. I mean, it just shows you how it really has progressed. Now, as the Kevin Madden, the father speaking, not Kevin Madden, the college student, I have heard but I think that's one of the things that is we have seen less of a fight for candidates to go on one side of the criminalization issue, and instead it has more to do with whether or not it's appealing to millennials as part of the turnout.
I watched the downtick impact on this in a state like Nevada, very close Senate race, but also there's a House race in Montana where Democrats think there's a chance to take out the
Montana medical marijuana
on the ballot there. Ryan Zinke, a Republican congressman, the Democrats think there's an outside chance of defeating him. They put money into that state. One reason why it could drive up some of the more younger, more liberal voters, college voters in that state would be an upset, but perhaps one reason why would be this.
But you know what, Eric? I think the one point that we should make is that this is a Democrat or Republican issue. There are a lot of Republicans, more conservatives, that are in line with medical.
Classically,
Clinton and Trump both agree. They're on the same side. They support medical but not recreational.
In terms of turnout, I think you can see this as something that can actually drive Republicans and more libertarian-minded conservatives to the polls, and then for Mr. Trump. So we can't just say it's a pure Democrat Republican.
I agree with that, but it's also like it's a younger voter, and it's actually I think it actually draws a lot of young voters of color out as well, because one of the things that we realize in the criminal justice is because you have kids who go out and get 1 or 2 charges with marijuana, and you see the disparities between white young people and black young people, and so it just has these ramifications.
That's what I was going to mention. It's a big issue in the criminal justice arena with black voters, Latino voters, but also, you know, as a mother, I saw Sanjay Gupta's special on medical marijuana, and it was incredibly impactful. And so I think if you are looking at this from that standpoint, I think that, you know, mothers and people who are dealing with children who really need this can also have a big impact.
A big difference between recreational and medicinal when it comes to voters, and then, of course, as we said, the differences in those states. All right, all staying with me, Michigan, part of Clinton's blue wall in the Midwest, but as we all now know, it is part of Trump's plan to win. He needs it. And we're going to go live to one county that could hold the answer as to whether he is successful.
Did you happen to see this dog out in the parking lot or anything? I'm trying to find his owner. He's really, really sweet. He was running with a leash, so he's obviously someone, you know? So we're looking for the owner.
So you're another reporter, right?
I am. And I don't know if I'm like in line or...
And you act wearing,
Yes, I am.
Hey there, little fella. What a beautiful dog. Like this about the dog? Oh, look at that.
I have my own dog. I wouldn't want my dog lost or anything, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I have a golden retriever too.
Oh, yeah?
Been a dog lover forever.
I am too.
Yeah, the dogs don't criticize.
Right.
Especially my golden retriever. He'd be laying on her feet right now.
Oh, look! Awesome! Oh my gosh!
I love that apparently when it comes to dogs, there's no political party.
You know, I didn't ever expect myself to agree with the Trump supporters.
We do agree that we love dogs. Dogs love us.
I think fundamentally, you go talk person to person, they care about each other, and they care about kids, they care about dogs, and unfortunately, that's not what gets found in the media.
Things like this give us hope that we can all find common ground in some places, and I think that was what we were just a part of.
We have our differences, but everyone loves dogs.
Welcome back. Counting down the hours here. First poll's closing at 6 o'clock Eastern. A lot of attention on Michigan. Both candidates were there yesterday. Donald Trump holding the last campaign rally of the election there in Michigan. He needs to turn it Republican. Jessica Schneider is at the polling site in Warren, Michigan. And Jessica, obviously this is a battle fought on the extreme, the micro-local level. What are you seeing?
Well, you know, Aaron, Donald Trump is really banking on exactly where we're standing. We're in Macomb County. You know, this is the land of the Reagan Democrats. This is the blue-collar suburbs of Detroit that Donald Trump is hoping his message of jobs and trade resonate. Interestingly, I did just get off the phone with the county executive here. He says he's seeing turnout like never before. You can see we're at one of the polling places here. The line here has been steady, nothing too overwhelming, but I do hear just about 5 miles away from here, the lines are about 2 hours long. So the county executive telling me that they're on par right now to hit some record turnouts that they haven't seen since 2008 and even 1980. They're looking at turnout of about 69% of registered voters. So a lot of enthusiasm here, but it's unclear as to exactly who that enthusiasm bodes best for. Will it be Donald Trump? We say a lot of people here have been telling me that they've been seeing a lot of signs. Of course, signs are not in votes, or will it bode better for Hillary Clinton? I've been hearing people on both sides of things. But definitely, if nothing else, there is a lot of enthusiasm here. A lot of people getting out to vote what they say could be some record turnout tonight. Aaron?
All right, thank you very much. And my panel is back, so I guess the big question is, could we be surprised, Mark Preston? The polling all coming in, Hillary Clinton was on top in all of them, and yet the one thing we've learned this year is that the polls can be very wrong.
They can be wrong. But look, it's going to be a late night. It's certainly not going to be an early night. It's going to be a later night. And I think that Donald Trump has a very difficult path, not an insurmountable path to winning the presidency.
But I mean, the idea that he would win Michigan would be such an amazing surprise. I mean, just not only because he hasn't spent a lot of time there, but you know, like he has not invested in the ground game there, and you have President Obama going out there over the last couple of days, making sure that African American turnout, comes out for Hillary Clinton. So I think that would be very surprising.
And tomorrow, the debate tomorrow within the Republican Party is going to be fascinating to watch and completely consequential, particularly if Donald Trump loses. Do the conservatives win out, say we need to go back to our ideals and fight for our ideals? And do folks say we need to start to work more with Democrats, ideals on things like immigration? If Trump loses, that's going to be an intense battle. It's going to go a long way to shaping the first couple of years of the Clinton presidency.
Well, as far as Michigan, I think in a year that has made House of Cards look like a documentary, nothing will surprise me. But Manu's right. I think whoever comes into office tomorrow comes in with extraordinarily high unfavorable ratings and probably without a mandate. So it's going to be tough no matter who's in there.
I think I think the East Coast, when you come down the East Coast, New Hampshire, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, it may not be as late a night, I think, as Mark said. I think Hillary Clinton gets 323 electoral votes, and then people like my daughter can actually say that there's a female president of the United States.
Cautiously optimistic in Michigan. Dems are looking at Oakland. The Republicans are looking at Macomb County, where there's a lot of Reagan Democrats, which have all of a sudden come into play. And the fact that we're talking about Michigan right there shows that Pennsylvania would also be in play. It's going to be a late night, guys, if we even get a conclusion.
As a Latina, I'm so proud that one of the big stories is going to be the historic turnout of the Hispanic voter, and the delicious irony in this is that if Hillary Clinton wins, which I believe she will, and it's going to be because of the Hispanic vote, that it's going to be a wall built by Hispanic voters, a big, brown, beautiful wall that keeps Donald Trump out of the White House.
I'm going to be looking for this new coalition of voters, and that's in particular the new coalition that voted for Donald Trump. I believe it's going to be a lot of people that look like me, and a lot of beautiful people that look like you voted for Donald Trump today. What about me? I'm beautiful. Well, I mean, I just want to get that.
Why did I know that someone Preston was going to get the last one? Talking about his beauty, who would have thought?
Back check.
Thank you, and CNN's Election Night in America coverage continues now.
And around the world. I'm Jake Tapper in Washington, D.C., and there is just one single lead on the lead right now. National, global, political, metaphysical, all wrapped up in one. Millions of Americans going to the polls, choosing either the first female president or the first president who have never served in government or the military beforehand, a true outsider. Whomever wins, it will be one for the books, and signs are, voters know that. Turnout appears to be quite heavy. We've seen Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump and their respective running mates casting their ballots. We're about an hour away from the first exit poll data and 3 hours from the first statewide poll closing. We have also seen the Trump campaign fire the first legal shot over actual balloting in Nevada, and we've just seen a judge answer. We have correspondents out across the country. Let's begin with Sarah Murray. She's at Trump Election Night headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. Sarah, you're there at Trump Election Night headquarters in New York City. What is Trump doing today? Where will he be watching the returns?
Well, Jake, Donald Trump is at Trump Tower today, and I just want you to think for a second about what it is like for him in these final hours. He's spent nearly a year and a half running for president. He has never done this before, and at this point, really, all you can do is wait. Your ads are on the air, your field staffers are out in battleground states, and so Donald Trump is there in Trump Tower. He passed through the war room they have set up there earlier. I'm told he was greeted with a standing ovation at Trump Tower, and he's, touching base in some battleground states. He did a couple of radio interviews, but essentially just waiting. We're expecting him to stay there this evening to watch the returns there, and later on he's going to head over to the Hilton for his official victory party.
Sarah, the Trump campaign filed this request with a Nevada court to try to preserve and separate the ballots from voting machines in 4 early voting sites in Nevada. Why did they do that, and what is the status of that request?
That's right. We saw Donald Trump himself talking about this over the weekend when he was campaigning in Nevada. They were particularly concerned about a number of polling places that they told CNN that they stayed open so that the people in line could vote. The Trump campaign felt like they had unfairly stayed open late, and that's why they put in this legal challenge. But the judge did rule from the bench, essentially denying their request. And look, these are areas where we saw heavy Latino turnout in Nevada. Obviously, there's going to be a big election day vote there as well. So we're waiting to see how that all pans out for the Trump campaign. But it was certainly something that they were worried about going into today, Jake.
All right, Sarah Murray, thanks. Stay there. We're going to check back with you in a little bit. Hillary Clinton will be heading out any moment now from the family home in Chappaqua, New York, for perhaps, maybe, the last time before her life changes in ways that no American woman's life has ever changed. She'll be spending the afternoon in a Midtown Manhattan hotel, a very nice one, before going to New York's big convention center, which is named for one of her Senate predecessors, the local Republican Senator Jacob Javits. CNN's Jeff Zeleny is covering the Clinton campaign and joins us now live from New York. Jeff, we saw Hillary Clinton voting this morning near her home in Chappaqua, New York. What's she been doing since then?
Well, Jake, she did vote this morning early on. That was just a few hours after flying back to New York after a final midnight rally in Raleigh, North Carolina. And as I watched her get off the plane, you could see that there was a bit of confidence in her as she's closing this campaign. They believe that this campaign is in a better position than it was a few days ago. But you get a sense of where they are still trying to turn out the vote by the number of radio interviews she has done throughout the day. Detroit is one, Charlotte is one, Raleigh is one, New Hampshire stations. So those are states she is definitely trying to get her voice into, and she is trying to get out the vote there. Now, she will be coming to Manhattan to watch those returns in the Peninsula Hotel, and then she will be coming here to the Javits Center, where thousands of people will be gathering here beneath a glass ceiling, if you can see it above me here. And of course, that is a metaphor that I'm guessing we'll hear throughout the evening. And the stage that she will be speaking on behind me here as well is in the shape of the United States of America here. So once we see those shots later on this evening, that's some of the theatrics and stagecraft that will be happening here at the Javits Center for what they hope will be a victory party, but it's far too early to know that yet, Jake.
And Jeff, Clinton obviously getting updates from her war room, taking in all the information about where they think voter turnout is not as high as it needs to be. Has the Clinton campaign indicated to you which states they feel most confident about in terms of these very contested battleground states, and which ones they're still concerned about?
Florida seems to top the list when you talk to a lot of advisors here and on the ground in Florida as a state that they feel confident about, largely because of the boost of early vote. So much has changed since that Florida recount 16 years ago. So much early voting has happened. So Florida, they believe they have an advantage because of the early vote. Other votes that they're keeping an eye on, other states that are keeping an eye on, Michigan. Michigan has emerged as sort of a ground zero battleground state. Really in the final hours, final days of the campaign, they are slightly nervous about what's happening on the ground in Michigan, as well as North Carolina. If there's one battleground state that they think they could definitely win, but they're not sure, those 15 electoral votes in North Carolina are on their mind. They're trying to get out the vote there for several hours yet. We're talking about this already. There's several hours left of voting, or at least a few hours left of voting. So those are the states they are focusing on right now.
All right, Jeff Zeleny, thanks. And here's something you might have noticed, especially if you're a New Yorker for the first time that we can remember. Both election night headquarters will be in Manhattan. And not just Manhattan, both of them are going to be in Midtown Manhattan. You can walk the distance if the weather's nice and that pizza-eating rat doesn't hassle you in about 20 minutes. Joining us now, Clinton Press Secretary Brian Fallon. And Brian, thanks for joining us. Polls have been tightening in recent weeks. What's the one state that you're most concerned about right now?
To be honest with you, we're feeling pretty good right now. Just to give you a sense of one of the critical battlegrounds that we've been watching all day, Florida, a state that Donald Trump must win. If he doesn't win Florida, it's game over for Donald Trump. And not only did we see a strong performance in terms of the early vote, where you saw Latinos in particular, 1 million Latinos voting in the early voting phase in Florida. That's more than double 2012 early voting levels. And then in terms of the vote that we're seeing today, if you look at a heavily Democratic county like Broward County, home of Fort Lauderdale, big county along with Miami-Dade in southern Florida, which is key to any Democratic victory in the state of Florida. As of 3 o'clock today, we were looking at about 98% of the ballots returned already. That's even before the afternoon post-work shift. Similar numbers in terms of the pace compared to 2012 in Hillsborough County in the Tampa area. Again, close to 100% already at 3 o'clock today compared to 2012 levels of turnout. And so if we can stay on that pace and we have that type of turnout in those Democratic performing counties in Florida, we think that this could be a very strong night for Hillary Clinton.
Okay, so Brian, of course, I asked you about the state you're most concerned about. You told me the one that you're least concerned about in terms of the battlegrounds. Let me ask you about Ohio. I've heard that turnout in Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, is not where you want it to be. Are you worried about Ohio?
Ohio is a state that Donald Trump absolutely needs. I mean, at this point, if we're able to win a state like Pennsylvania and hold on to Michigan, both of which we feel very confident about, it requires Donald Trump to essentially run the table of the states that remain. He's going to have to win Ohio. He's going to have to win Iowa. He's going to have to win North Carolina. He's going to have to win Florida. So Ohio is a must-win for Donald Trump. As we've been monitoring the vote today, we were pleased with the early vote patterns in Ohio. We've seen turnout numbers in Cuyahoga County, Franklin County, Hamilton County that make us optimistic, but we'll have to watch closely as the night proceeds.
So this afternoon, a Nevada court denied a request from the Trump campaign to issue an order directing a county registrar to preserve and separate ballots from voting machines in 4 early voting sites in Clark County. Do you expect that there are going to be more legal challenges like this one, perhaps even many more, before this is all over?
Well, Jake, this challenge was completely frivolous, and we're pleased that the judge acted so quickly to smack it down. I mean, it is a fact. Everybody knows, and everybody watching the program that is thinking of still turning out later today should know. If you were in line at the time when polling closes, you're allowed to vote as long as you're in line. And that's all that they were accommodating in Clark County, Nevada, that is now coming under challenge from the Trump campaign. And they're suggesting that that somehow was some unlawful extension of the voting hours in Clark County. That's not at all the case. They were just following the rules. It was another example in Nevada of you seeing record Latino turnout in Clark County. You were seeing those long lines. They were being tweeted out at the grocery market last Friday night. And that's a big reason why John Ralston, who's sort of the guru about Nevada, is saying that essentially Donald Trump has an insurmountable deficit at this point. So the Trump campaign was waging a completely frivolous challenge there. We won't be surprised if they try it in other states too. It's not going to work. He may be trying to sow the seeds for trying to question the legitimacy of the outcome tonight, but you've already seen Republicans distance themselves from his efforts to do that.
Brian, just one last question for you. I know you don't know what's going to happen tonight. None of us have any idea what's going to happen tonight. In the event that Hillary Clinton does win, there's been talk about whether or not Donald Trump will concede. How much are you considering that in terms of what you do going forward if the networks do declare the race won by her?
Well, you just made a great point, Jake, which is networks like CNN, the Associated Press, news organizations, they make the judgment call about who the winner is based on the raw vote totals. That's how it should be made. Nothing depends on Donald Trump refusing to make a concession, even in light of compelling data that the race has been won. And so that'll be a big part, I think, in resolving that, even if Donald Trump refuses to acknowledge reality. Another thing I think that will suppress Donald Trump's ability to try to call anything into question is the fact that so many of these battleground states, the elections there are administered by Republican secretaries of state who themselves have spoken out in the weeks leading up to today, saying that there's no basis to question the integrity of the election results in their state. These are people that are going to be out there in the days after saying that these elections were properly conducted. And I think that national Republican leaders like Reince Priebus and Speaker Ryan are not going to indulge any of these attempts by Donald Trump to litigate this if the result is decisive tonight.
All right, Fallon, thank you so much. Appreciate it. A lot more ahead as we count down to our first exit polling and then to the actual results. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Election Night in America is brought to you by Norfolk Southern, One Line, Infinite Possibilities, and by VoteForEnergy.org, a program of the American Petroleum Institute. Log on to learn more. Go to CNNPolitics.com for more about this momentous election.
Big day. Not usual. With some new cars. All went to steel. Kept the supermarket shelves stocked. Make sure everyone got the latest gadgets. What's up for the next shift?
Nothing much. Just keeping it relaxing.
Thanks.
Doing the big things that move an economy.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, sir.
Just another day in Norfolk Southern.
We've got to build the economy for the future. Abundant American oil and natural gas can give us a real leg up. More affordable energy, better jobs, more money for our communities. That's going to work for generations to come. I'm Melanie, and I'm an energy voter.
Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Thomas Shaw.
We have breaking news on the Thomas Shaw leaks.
The CIA has taken another hit.
Where's this coming from?
Is this going where I think it's going?
This is crazy.
So you tell me, which side are you on?
Berlin Station, Sundays on Epix, or anytime on demand and on the Epix app. You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website. Choose a template, change your text, add one of our images, or upload your own. And just like that, you've got your own stunning website.
TrueCar is great for finding new cars. You're smart, you already knew that. But it's also great for finding the perfect used car. You'll see what a fair price is, and you can connect with a TrueCar certified dealer. Now you're even smarter. This is TrueCar. It's simple supply and demand. More abundant energy means more affordable energy. Producing more American oil and natural gas will help keep energy bills in check. Who doesn't want that? I'm Rick, and I'm an energy voter.
Any excuse to come to Japan is a good one.
A sushi legend is taking Tony where it all started.
What's it here?
Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown, Japan, Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Hi, I'm Tiger. Guaranteed Rate has helped over 500,000 happy customers get a low mortgage rate. And every day, we help more, and more, and more. But the most important customer of all is you. Just call us or visit rate.com right now to see if Guaranteed Rate can help you save money with a lower mortgage payment.
With Guaranteed Rate's digital mortgage, you can choose from today's lowest rates, check your free credit scores, and even get approved online. All in just minutes, at no cost to you. Or just call us, and one of our home loan experts will help you find a low rate. Guaranteed Rate is a top 10 national lender with a 95% customer satisfaction rate.
The entire process with Guaranteed Rate was so fast and easy, it was unbelievable.
Just click or call to see how Guaranteed Rate can help you buy or refinance your home.
Call 1-888-535-0004 or visit rate.com.
This is Life with Lisa Lane. New episodes, Sundays at 10 on CNN.
Fewer than 3 hours until the first statewide poll closing. 6 states at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by a batch at 7:30. We're also about 45 minutes from our first exit poll data. Plenty to cover. Turnout today appears heavy. Looks like voters want to be a part of history today, one way or the other. Again, we have correspondents across the country. Tonight, let's go now to Gary Tuckman. He's in Charlotte in the battleground state of North Carolina. Gary?
Jake, in this battleground state, there are about 10 million people who live here. Of the 10 million, 6.9 million are registered voters. And those 6.9 million people are coveted by the candidates. And these people know they're coveted, and that's why so many are turning out at polling places across the state. This is the Mount Moriah Baptist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, in the heart of Charlotte, but it is now one of the 2,700 precincts. The way the voting works here, no voter ID is necessary in the state of North Carolina. People come to this table, they fill out a form with their name and their address, and then take the form to this table where it's verified that they're in this precinct. Folks, you excited about voting? I didn't ask for a lot of cheers. They kicked us out. I did cheers a lot, but you're looking forward to the following election.
Yes,
you followed it closely?
Yeah.
You're excited?
Yeah.
So voters are motivated. There's been a line here the entire time we've been here. Once they get their address confirmed, they come here to the video screens, and they not only have the presidential election here in North Carolina, which is brought out voters, but they also have a very close gubernatorial race and a close U.S. Senate race. The decision with the U.S. Senate race could ultimately determine which party controls the Senate. Jake, one thing I do want to point out to you that's very notable, elaborate early voting here lasted 16 days. 3.1 million people already voted early. That's 45% of the total number of registered voters, even before anybody turned out today. So they're going to have a big turnout here in the state of North Carolina. Jake?
All right, a lot going on in the Tar Heel State. Thank you so much, Gary Tuckman. Let's check in now with Miguel Marquez. He is in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, just south of Pittsburgh. Miguel.
Yeah, it is very, very busy. It's gone from busy here in Washington County to ridiculously busy. We actually have a drone up so you can see how long the line is now. It's actually gotten longer in the last few minutes. This is Trump country, and this will give you an idea of what this area is like. This is the last bit of politicking that voters see as they walk into the polls here. And this gentleman, the line is so long, he has the right idea. He brought the chair. No beer and chicken, but he's enjoying it while he can. The line I can show you goes all the way down here. This is about an hour-long line to the end of this sidewalk, and now it's snaking around back into the parking lot. This is almost as long as we've seen it all day. That's probably about an hour and a half to 2 hour line at this point. This is a county that has more Democrats and Republicans, but tends to vote Republican. Hillary Clinton opened an office here, but Donald Trump beats voters in Washington County and other rural counties to come out in huge numbers to keep up with her in the cities, both Philly and in Pittsburgh. Very, very heavy turnout here. No early voting across Pennsylvania, as you know, so we will know what Pennsylvanians think at 8 p.m. tonight. Jake?
All right, Miguel, thank you so much. The Trump forces are counting on doing at least all right in western Pennsylvania, while the Clinton campaign needs to pile up votes on the other end of the state, namely the areas around Philadelphia and the city of Philadelphia. We're going to be watching both ends of the state. There are plenty more crucial spots on the map. CNN Inside Politics anchor John King joins us now with a quick overview. John?
Jake, let's start with some of the things we'll look at early. 20, 30, maybe 40 counties I'll be looking at through the night, depending on how close it is. But, you know, the polls close early. I'm going to go back to the 2012 map here as we wait to fill in the 2016 map. We started to get early poll closings in the 6 o'clock hour, then into the 7 o'clock hour out of Indiana. Indiana we expect to be red, right? Mike Pence is from Indiana, traditionally red state. But Vigo County in western Indiana has a pretty good track record. It's only been wrong twice in the last 100 years. 15 elections in a row. It has picked the winner in presidential politics, just barely for President Obama last time. But Vigo County has a pretty good track record, so we'll watch that as the Indiana results start to come in early. Then you move to the east just a little bit, we'll also get some Kentucky results. Now, again, Kentucky's most likely going to be red for Donald Trump, but we can do a little CSI, some clues. How's Donald Trump doing in poll country down here? Because communities like this, you can find them in southern Ohio. You can also find them, Jake, over in Virginia, which we'll get in the 7 o'clock hour. Clinton has been consistently ahead in Virginia, but we'll want to watch. Is Donald Trump running it up out here in the rural areas? And how's he doing in the Washington suburbs, like Prince William County, not that far from here? Used to be a Republican county. Look how much President Obama won it by 4 years ago, 57-41. Why? Democrats are doing better with those college-educated suburban white voters, but there's also been a Latino explosion in Prince William County. Now, even if Clinton is winning Virginia, the margin might tell us a lot about how Donald Trump's going to do in some other places, notably North Carolina to the south, and that suburban vote might tell us a lot about, you mentioned Philadelphia, the Philadelphia area. No question. They call it the T. You have May and Nutter at the table. This is your home state. You know it very well. See all this red? Donald Trump's running it up out here. Miguel Marquez was just talking about it. So Hillary Clinton has to do well out here. The vote count tends to be a little slower here, but as it starts to come into Pennsylvania at the 8 o'clock hour, first we look at Center City, Philadelphia. She has to run it up, Jake, by 400,000 or more votes in this area. The mayor can talk about that, I think. And then you come here, to Bucks County. That's Montgomery, and then over to Bucks County. This is the more blue-collar, this collar counties right around the suburbs. You see President Obama winning, but just barely, 50 to 49. The last time Republicans won your great home state of Pennsylvania was 1988. George H.W. Bush won these suburbs. That's what we're going to watch tonight. A, is Clinton winning the city big? Is she winning the suburbs? And if she is winning the suburbs, by how much? In a close race, the margins matter. And John, obviously, Donald Trump wants to crack Hillary Clinton's blue wall, which includes the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Are there any other areas where you'll be looking to see if he is making those cracks in the blue wall? Absolutely. Let's start in Pennsylvania. Again, it's an 8 o'clock state. Donald Trump went to Scranton just yesterday. Lackawanna County happens to be the hometown, the birthplace of Vice President Joe Biden. So look at this. That's in 1988. Let me bring it back forward into the more recent elections. 63 to 36. This is an area where, again, Democrats need to run it up in Pennsylvania where you have those Democratic voters. So let's see. Is Donald Trump going to carry Lackawanna County? I don't think that's a safe bet. But are the margins closer? That's how we'll know if Pennsylvania is in play and if the blue wall might be cracked. Because if you start to see that in a place like the Scranton area, guess what? Then you might see it as well, across in Ohio, which is more Republican. But then when you get to Michigan a little bit later in the night, what about Macomb County, just north of Detroit, home of the legendary Reagan Democrats back in the day? So the Scranton area, north of Detroit in the suburbs, that's where we'll look for the early evidence of whether that blue wall is indeed cracking or if Clinton is holding. All right, John King, thanks. Let's bring in the panel. We have with us CNN political commentator and conservative writer Mary Catherine Ham, CNN senior political reporter Mia Malika Henderson, CNN political analysts David Gergen and Kirsten Powers, Trump supporters Kayleigh McEnany and Andre Bauer. They're on the far left and far right of your screen. Andre is the former lieutenant governor of South Carolina. And in the middle of this table, Clinton supporter Dan Pfeiffer and former Philadelphia Mayor Michael Nutter. Mr. Mayor, let me just start with you because we were talking about Pennsylvania, and you heard John King say that the Clinton team needs to rack up about 400,000 votes in the city of Philadelphia. Is turnout that heavy? Are you going to be able to do that?
It's significantly heavy. When we talk about my own polling place, folks were lined up at 6:30 this morning to get ready for polls opening at 7.
Is that abnormal?
It's unusual. But other reports are being analyzed, and we'll get election official reports. But overall, turnout is significantly up in Philadelphia. We expect the same in the suburbs, as well as at least in Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, and up through the Lehigh Valley. Those are the key areas. Those are the key areas for Secretary Clinton.
Kayleigh, are there any specific areas that you're going to be looking at tonight as the results start to come in to give you an indication? I know you're a numbers person. Give you an indication about how well Donald Trump's going to do.
Well, Pennsylvania is always kind of that elusive state that Republicans think they can get, and it's never quite within reach. You know, Donald Trump, though, I think he's a different kind of candidate. He has more of a popular streak, might get it. For me, what I am looking at is New Hampshire, because I think if you look at the Real Clear Politics averages, we can get 265, and that's with Nevada, Florida, Ohio, and Iowa. We can get 265. Donald Trump's winning the averages narrowly, but we need one more state. And that one more state, I think, can be New Hampshire, plus Maine's 2nd congressional district. So New Hampshire's an early state that's polls close early. We're doing well there. I'm very happy.
Hey, Malika, let me ask you, how is voting going? Have you heard many reports of irregularities or things proceeding smoothly?
Yeah, I mean, there are always irregularities that pop up. I mean, we're going to have millions and millions of people who are going to vote today. And I think it's hard to know based on, kind of anecdotal reports about long lines or not long lines. We have no idea what's going to happen. We've seen in the early votes there were patterns that might benefit Hillary Clinton in some states like Florida and Nevada, and then we see tightening of rules in places like New Hampshire, places like Michigan as well. I mean, you always hear on a day like this, and we've heard it throughout this campaign, that this is the most consequential election ever. But at this point, it really does feel like this. With this election, with history on the line for either of these candidates on the Supreme Court, obviously on the line, and a real guess as to what the future of the Republican Party looks like as well. And at this point, all we can do is sit and wait to see what these hundreds of millions of voters are going to say.
David, what are you going to be looking for tonight?
Florida. For starters, it will come in early. We'll have a very good clue where this is going. I think there are two things about this avalanche of voting that we're seeing. One is the Latino vote. That may be the sleeper story of the campaign, of the election tonight. If Florida is delivered by Latinos, that sort of puts it away. But with Colorado and all these other states, maybe even North Carolina. The other thing is, I've been wondering during the day with this great outpouring, is with so many people voting, will this possibly be a catharsis for the country? that people will feel they finally had a chance to give voice. And the people who are going to win are going to feel like we're sort of taking back our country. You know, because people on both sides are so angry about this. But I do think there's something fairly encouraging about the fact so many people are turning out.
And Dan, let me ask you, what are you looking for? You're a numbers guy. You were on the Obama team in 08 and 12, and the Obama team that was a pretty famous team in terms of like analyzing the numbers.
Sure, I think the ball game tonight is really Michigan and Pennsylvania because the CNN map has a 268. The Clinton team and the Obama folks have looked at the early vote numbers in Nevada. Say Nevada is gone. Clinton has that in the bag, so she is above 270. They're going to have to steal Michigan and Pennsylvania. I think that's very, very hard, if not impossible.
What do you think, Andre?
I think it's number one for our country. It's great that we have this high participation for a change, that people really have paid attention this time, and hopefully people will get engaged in the process, starting at a polling place and then supporting candidates in the future. I mean, that's really the key to this country, is if you want change, getting engaged. And so that's what I take away more than anything. It's been a divisive race from both sides, and both candidates are flawed. No matter who you're supporting tomorrow, I hope we all wake up with a positive outlook that our country is going to move forward, and we're going to try to all be a bigger part of what makes this country great, and that is all having a voice. And so I'm refreshed. Florida's big to me to see what happens. We had talked earlier about Marco Rubio looking like he's doing very well, and I think that's interesting to study as well. But many days after the election's over with, we're all going to study this thing, scratching our heads, and the Republicans are going to have to look at how to tap into that Latino vote. No matter what happens today, to write that much of the electoral vote off, I think is wrong, and those people, I think, really will come home to the Republican Party in the end.
Mary Catherine, you voted in Virginia. I'm not going to ask you who you voted for, but were the lines long? Was there an active, excited electorate?
Well, there's some early vote in Virginia. When I was there at mid-morning, the lines were not long, but they've never been long in Northern Virginia during presidential elections. I've never had that particular issue. But the thing that strikes me about this race is that so much has to fall for Donald Trump. Like, it has a couple lucky breaks, and to get a little southern on you, it is like covering your grill in a hurricane. Like, there's only so much you can hold down at one time, and like some corners are going to fly up, and I think that's the challenge that he faces.
And you voted also. I'm not going to ask you who you voted for, but what are you looking for tonight, Kirsten?
Well, I think the same as David. I mean, Florida, it comes early, and I think it's going to tell us a lot. Obviously, he can't win without Florida, so Democrats are actually feeling pretty good about Florida, so it could be over early if that happens. But in a sort of broader sense, I'm really interested. We're watching the Latino vote, but the women's vote, to see what happens. It's possible that Hillary Clinton could win married women for the first time in 20 years since her husband won.
First time a Democrat.
Yeah, sorry, since a Democrat won. Last time one was her husband. So, we're going to watch the swing probably from Romney being up among college white women, educated women, to maybe swinging in the favor of Democrats. This is momentous.
Yeah, lots more to talk about. Some breaking news. We just learned that Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina has voted, and he did not vote for Donald Trump. Instead, he voted for conservative Gavin McMullen. That and more to talk about ahead. We are expecting to get the first wave of exit polls in about 30 minutes. These are still early hours in a marathon night of election coverage. Our political team, correspondents are spread across the country to bring you all the developments as they happen. Stay with us.
The following is from the Amazon original, Man in the High Castle, streaming December 16th on Amazon Prime.